declining in Germany, but pesticides are the suspected cause. The authors of the Puerto Rico study believe that climate change is to blame for the loss of arthropods there. A review article in 2019 concluded that globally, more than 40% of insect species are threatened with extinction. Bees, butterflies, dragonflies, and dung beetles are mentioned as taxa that are experiencing very significant decline, all of which are represented in this book. The authors of the review say that habitat loss to intensive agriculture and urbanization is the biggest factor in the decrease in insects around the world. Other drivers of global insect losses include pollution from fertilizers and pesticides, diseases, introduction of non-native species, and climate change. Either directly or inadvertently, human beings are killing a lot of plants and arthropods to the point of extinguishing many species and impoverishing the Earth's biodiversity. Clearly, it is time to reckon with how we relate to these smaller living beings. Something has to change, and I think this begins with our attitudes toward nature writ small. I believe the current crisis faced by these organisms that are so critical to the planet's ecosystems calls for reflection on how small plants and animals affect us and we affect them. In writing this book, I hope to raise awareness and increase our appreciation for these living beings. It is an effort to raise their profile by relating features of their fascinating existence, especially those of plants and animals that live in close proximity to us in urban and suburban settings. For I think we must first confront our attitudes toward them where they are most frequently encountered, in the environments that we have constructed. It seems high time to consider our responsibilities toward our small neighbors. Although it may seem counterintuitive, I submit that humans ultimately have a moral obligation toward even these often unloved or ignored organisms. I approach the material through my training as an entomologist, from experience as an insider working in the pesticide industry, and from a perspective gleaned from religion and philosophy. Even entomologists who have developed a healthy appreciation or even admiration for insects may exhibit a disregard for the lives of their research subjects. I must admit that it did not cross my mind to ask whether my research goals were worthy of the insect lives I sacrificed. I have since become more conscious of the unnecessary loss of the plant and arthropod life that surrounds us. The book is intended to be accessible to anyone with an interest in nature. I hope it can contribute to rethinking our relationship with the smaller life around us. In that respect, the book is meant to be scientifically accurate but also inviting. Scientific names and terms are used, in addition to occasional anthropomorphic descriptions of creatures or their behaviors. I have chosen to write about aspects of the lives of plants, insects, and their kin that offer examples of important relationships of humans with these beings. The material is taken selectively from the scientific literature. It contains much natural history, but it is not solely about natural history. In this, the book differs from other similar literature. Instead, it uses natural history to broaden the awareness of smaller plants and animals, and to support an argument about the value of and our responsibilities toward underappreciated life. The aim is to change our thinking about less charismatic nature, the life we find underfoot in our everyday lives. Introduction. I assembled a model of the creature from the Black Lagoon when I was 8 or 9 years old. It loomed large in my imagination and was the stuff of nightmares, human-like, standing on 2 legs but with a green, scaly body, webbed feet and hands, and fringed gills emerging from its neck. Non-human nature, like this scaly creature emerging from the depths, is often represented in the popular imagination as something to be feared. A more recent film, The Shape of Water, introduces an amphibious creature that is based on my model from the earlier film, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. The creature also seems frightening and is a fierce carnivore, devouring a pet cat at one point in the movie. But there is something more to this creature than its ferocity. A love story develops between the creature and a woman who cleans the facility where it is imprisoned. How could the woman have feelings for something so very different in appearance and habit from humans? Despite this strangeness, as the film progresses, we also begin to care for the creature, and it seems outrageous when the creature's captor torches it with an electric shock stick. We feel that the creature, regardless of its appearance and unusual behavior,